A8. Let me tell you something. The car you drive right now might look nice. It might shine in the sun. It might even turn heads when you roll by. But behind that steering wheel, too many people are drowning. This market we're living in today, it's not built to give you freedom. It's built to keep you locked in chains. And the chains don't rattle like iron. They rattle like car keys. See, there was a time when owning a car was simple. You worked, you saved, you bought a vehicle that could get you where you needed to go. Nothing more, nothing less. But somewhere along the way, it changed. Now, buying a car feels like signing your name on a prison sentence. Prices have gone through the roof and the loans don't even get me started. They stretch out for 6, 7, even 8 years. Payments so high they could feed a family of 4. They sell it to you with a smile, but the fine print is waiting like a snake in the grass. And here's the trap. People aren't just paying for cars anymore. They're paying for status. They're paying for the illusion of success. They're paying to keep up with the neighbor who just pulled in with something new. So now, instead of buying a car that fits their life, 8, people are buying cars that break their life. They sit in leather seats while their savings account is empty. They grip the steering wheel of a luxury ride while their credit score falls apart. That's not success. That's slavery dressed up in chrome. And the problem doesn't stop with just one person. It trickles down, it seeps into families. When a car payment eats up half of your paycheck, what's left for groceries? What's left for rent? What's left for your children's future? I've seen parents sacrifice education funds, retirement plans, and even meals just to make that monthly payment. And when the repossession truck shows up, all that sacrifice disappears overnight. The car is gone, the debt remains, and the family is left broken. Now listen closely, it's about to get worse. Prices are climbing, interest rates are climbing, and wages, they're not moving at the same speed. That means more people falling behind, more cars being taken back, more or lives wrecked by something as simple as transportation. The system is set up to make you believe you need the newest, the biggest, the flashiest. But all it's really doing is lining the pockets of the dealers, the banks, and the lenders, while you're left gasping for air. But here's the truth, and it's not an easy one. No one's coming to save you from this. The only way out is discipline. You've got to stop buying into the lies. You've got to stop letting the commercials tell you what success looks like. Success is not 4 wheels and a shiny logo. Success is peace of mind, money in the bank, and the freedom to live without fear of repossession. That takes awareness. That takes courage. That takes saying, no, I don't need the newest model. No, I don't need to impress strangers. I need stability. I need freedom. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about saying you shouldn't drive nice. It's about saying you shouldn't go broke trying to look nice. If you can't pay cash, if you can't afford it without struggle, it's not for you right now, because the car market is not your friend. It doesn't care about your family, your dreams, or your future. It cares about keeping you hooked, paying month after month, year after year, until you forget what freedom even feels like. So the question is, are you going to keep driving into that trap, or are you going to take control of the wheel? 8, because the road ahead is rough. But if you have the courage to see through the illusion, to reject the debt, and to build your life on solid ground, then you can drive something far greater than a car. You can drive your destiny. Cars used to be simple. They were about getting to work, picking up your kids, going to the grocery store, and taking a trip out of town when you needed a break. They were machines with one purpose: transportation. But now, cars have become something else entirely, and for millions of Americans, they're no longer a tool to move you forward. They're a trap that holds you back. What was once about freedom has turned into chains of debt. And those chains rattle every month when the bill comes in. The moment you step onto a dealership lot, You're stepping into a carefully designed system that's not built for your benefit. It's built to pull you in, make you feel like you're winning. 8, while in reality, you're signing your life away on a deal that benefits everyone but you. You see the shiny rims, the leather seats, the tech on the dashboard, and suddenly the idea of just getting from point A to point B isn't enough anymore. The salesman smiles, the financing department tells you not to worry, and before you know it, you're told down to a loan so long and so heavy that you'll be paying for that car years after the new car smell has worn off. And here's the part that hurts the most. Most people know it deep down. They know the numbers don't add up. They know that payment is too high for their budget. 8, they know they're stretching themselves too thin just to drive something that looks good on the outside. But the pressure of society, the need to keep up with friends, co-workers, or even strangers on the highway keeps pushing them into a decision that isn't about transportation at all. It's about image. And that image is costing people their financial peace. What makes cars such an effective trap is the illusion of necessity. Everyone needs transportation, right? That part is true, but the trap comes in when necessity turns into luxury disguised as necessity. You don't need the latest SUV with 3 rows of leather seating just to take your kids to school. You don't need a sports car with a turbocharged engine to drive 10 miles to work. You don't need all the extras the commercials convince you are normal. What you need is reliability. 48. What you need is something that gets you where you're going without bankrupting your future. But the market doesn't sell you that idea because that idea doesn't make them money. The trap is built on convincing you that reliability isn't enough, that status is the real product, and they're experts at making you believe it. This trap stretches even further when you realize how financing works. The average loan length has grown longer and longer. 7-year loans, 8-year loans. By the time you're done paying, the car is worth a fraction of what you paid for it. You're locked in from the first day, and there's no easy way out. If you try to trade it in early, you're upside down, owing more than the car is worth. If you miss payments, repossession is waiting at the door, and the damage follows you long after the car is gone. It's not just transportation at that point. It's a financial prison. And this trap doesn't just affect the person driving, it spills over into families. That big monthly payment takes money away from groceries, rent, healthcare, savings, and opportunities for children. It robs households of stability and forces people to make impossible choices. Do they keep the car they can't afford, or do they risk losing it and having no way to get to work? Either way, they're cornered. That's what makes this trap so powerful. It plays on both pride and fear, keeping people stuck in a cycle that benefits lenders and dealers while destroying households one payment at a time. At its core, the car market today isn't about freedom, it's about control. The trap is in convincing people that a car defines them, that without the right badge on the hood or the right trim package on the inside, they're less successful, less important, less valuable. And once people buy into that lie, they lock themselves into debt disguised as luxury and freedom disguised as transportation. The car no longer takes them forward. 8, it holds them back. Car prices today have reached levels that would have been unthinkable a generation ago. What used to be a modest purchase has now become one of the largest financial commitments most households will ever face, second only to buying a home. The average cost of a new vehicle is pushing past numbers that make little sense for the average worker, and even used cars once the affordable option. 8, have skyrocketed to levels that leave families gasping for air. The dream of owning a reliable set of wheels has been swallowed up by ballooning prices. And behind those prices is a system of loans designed to trap people for years. This isn't just inflation, this is predatory business at work, and it's getting worse. The trick is subtle. The sticker shock of the price is softened by the promise of easy monthly payments. instead of focusing on the total cost. Dealers and lenders distract buyers with numbers that sound manageable at first glance. $400 a month doesn't seem too bad. $600 a month feels uncomfortable but doable. And when someone says they can stretch it out over 6, 7, or even 8 years, it begins to look like an opportunity instead of the trap it really is. What most buyers don't realize is that by the time the interest is added, by the time the fees are piled on, they are paying thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, more than the car is worth. The dealership makes their sale. The lender locks in a long stream of payments, and the buyer is stuck holding the bag. Predatory lending thrives on people's lack of awareness. Many buyers don't have perfect credit, and the industry knows it. Instead of being turned away, they're told, "We can work with you." That sounds like compassion, but it's really exploitation. They get approved for loans with interest rates that are outrageous, double-digit percentages that guarantee the car will cost far more than it should. And because people need transportation, because they feel they don't have another choice, they sign anyway. That moment of desperation locks them into years of struggling to keep up. And if they fall behind, the repossession truck comes rolling in. The car is taken, the debt remains, and their credit is destroyed, ensuring the cycle continues when they try again. The lenders know exactly what they're doing. The 48, they structure these deals not with the expectation that everyone will finish paying them off, but with the knowledge that many won't. The repossession business is part of the profit model. Cars get taken back, resold, and the loan contracts live on as scars on people's financial records. It's a system designed to squeeze every possible dollar out of the consumer, no matter how much damage it does to their future. And because cars are such a necessity in most parts of America, the trap is nearly unavoidable for those who don't have savings or stellar credit. The ballooning prices themselves are part of the strategy. The industry knows that as long as lenders are willing to stretch loans longer and longer, buyers will convince themselves they can handle it. So the price tags rise, and what was once a $30,000 purchase has now become $50,000 or $60,000 for an average family vehicle. Even modest sedans and compact cars, once considered entry level, now carry price tags that used to belong to luxury models. It's not just about supply and demand. It's about greed feeding off of people's needs. And when people walk into dealerships under pressure, the trap closes even tighter. Maybe their old car broke down. Maybe they need something fast to get to work. Maybe they've been told bad credit is okay. In that vulnerable moment, they aren't thinking about the long-term consequences. They're thinking about survival. The system knows this and exploits it. They'll approve just about anyone because they know the loan is written in a way that guarantees profit. High prices, high interest, long terms. The formula is designed to extract maximum value from the consumer while giving the illusion of opportunity. The painful reality is that these loans aren't written to help people own cars. They're written to keep people paying for as long as possible. Ownership becomes an afterthought. What should be a stepping stone toward independence becomes a stumbling block that keeps families in financial quicksand. People enter into these agreements thinking they've solved a problem, only to realize months later that they've created a bigger one. By then, it's too late. The ballooning price of the car and the predatory nature of the loan have already taken hold, and breaking free is nearly impossible without major sacrifice. One of the most dangerous traps in the car market today isn't just the high price tags or the interest rates, it's the illusion of luxury and status. People aren't just buying cars anymore, they're buying what they think those cars say about them. A vehicle has become more than a mode of transportation. It has become a badge of identity, a rolling billboard for success or failure in the eyes of others. And because society has wrapped so much pride, ego, and image around what sits in someone's driveway, People are sacrificing their financial freedom for a symbol that fades as soon as the next model comes out. The car commercials don't show you a man or woman stuck in traffic, frustrated and tired, paying $800 a month while stressing about bills. They show you the dream. 8. The luxury SUV gliding down a mountain road, the sports car roaring along the coast, the family smiling in their spotless minivan with every feature lit up on the dashboard. The message is clear. If you want to be admired, respected, or envied, this is the vehicle you need. The illusion is powerful because it taps into human desire. Nobody wants to feel less than. Nobody wants to feel like they're behind. And so the purchase isn't made for practicality, it's made to project an image. But that image comes with a price. And it's not just the price on the sticker, it's the sacrifice that follows. People trade long-term security for short-term validation. They roll out of the dealership in a luxury ride, feeling on top of the world, only to realize a month later that the payments are eating them alive. 2. They drive through the neighborhood proud of what they're showing off, while at home the bills are stacking up on the kitchen table. The neighbors might be impressed, but the bank isn't, and the stress is real. The illusion of status can't pay rent, can't buy groceries, and can't save for retirement. Yet millions fall for it every single day because society has made them believe their worth is tied to the badge on their hood. The sad truth is that this illusion is a carefully engineered product. Auto companies, ad agencies, and lenders all know if they can tie emotion to the purchase. People will spend more than they should. They know that nobody really needs heated steering wheels, panoramic sunroofs, and 15 different seat settings just to get to work. But if those features can be packaged as luxury, if they can be sold as symbols of success, 8. The consumer will convince themselves it's worth the sacrifice. The industry doesn't just sell cars, it sells pride, and that pride comes with a monthly payment that keeps people chained for years. This illusion doesn't just hurt individuals, it hurts entire families. 48. Parents spend money they don't have on vehicles they don't need, all to look like they're doing better than they are. Children grow up watching their household struggle under the weight of payments for a car that loses value the second it leaves the lot. The family eats out less, vacations less, saves less, all because of a machine that was supposed to represent success. In reality, it represents debt. And the children often learn the same lesson, growing up to repeat the cycle of chasing status symbols while falling deeper into financial traps. What makes this even more dangerous is the speed at which the illusion changes. The car that feels like luxury today will feel ordinary in 2 years. The status that felt powerful when you first drove it off the lot fades quickly when your coworker or neighbor pulls in with the newer model. Suddenly, that sense of pride becomes insecurity again, and the cycle repeats. People trade imperfectly good cars for new ones, rolling negative equity into bigger loans, digging themselves deeper while chasing something that can never be caught. The illusion doesn't end with ownership, because the illusion was never about owning. It was about showing. And showing never stops demanding more. The illusion of luxury and status is one of the most effective tools the industry has to keep people spending money they don't have. It feeds off comparison, it feeds off insecurity, and it feeds off the human need to belong. But the cost is devastating. Cars that should have been tools become trophies, and trophies don't build wealth, they drain it. By the time the shine wears off, the bank account has already bled dry, and the buyer is left with nothing but a depreciating vehicle and a pile of debt. When a family takes on a car payment that is too big, it is never just about the car. That decision ripples through every part of their lives like falling dominoes. A vehicle that was supposed to bring convenience and comfort becomes the reason for constant stress, arguments, and sacrifice. On paper, it may look like just another bill, but in reality, it is often the weight that tips the entire household balance. When a car note eats up hundreds, sometimes even over $1,000 each month, that money has to come from somewhere else, and where it comes from is what tears families apart little by little. For many households, the first domino is the grocery budget. Parents start cutting corners at the store, buying cheaper food, less nutritious meals, or simply less overall. 8. Just to make sure the car payment is covered. Children grow up seeing the stress when their parents say, "Well, I can't afford that right now," not because the house lacks income, but because the car in the driveway is swallowing resources. That constant denial creates tension, resentment, and guilt that sits heavy in the air every time bills are due. The second domino falls when housing is affected. Rent or mortgage should always come first. Yet families juggling oversized car loans often find themselves late on payments, choosing to risk eviction or foreclosure rather than lose the car they need for work. It is a cruel trade-off because the car becomes the lifeline to income, but keeping it comes at the cost of stability in the very home that income is meant to protect. The choice between shelter and transportation is a battle no family should have to fight, but predatory loans and inflated car prices push people right into that corner. Next comes the domino of savings and security. Families who are stuck in these cycles can't put money aside for emergencies, retirement, or education. The future is always sacrificed to keep up with the present. A flat tire becomes a crisis, a medical bill becomes unmanageable, and dreams like sending kids to college or buying a home feel impossible. Parents carry guilt because they know their financial decisions today are shaping the opportunities their children will or won't have tomorrow. Kids sense the stress. 08, even if they don't fully understand it, and that pressure seeps into the household atmosphere, creating an environment where money becomes the constant unspoken enemy. The domino effect shows up in relationships too. Marriages and partnerships strain under the constant stress of financial imbalance. Arguments about money become daily occurrences, fueled by frustration and regret. Couples who once dreamed together now point fingers at each other over a purchase that seemed harmless in the beginning, but now feels like a trap. Some families break apart under this pressure, with the financial weight of a car loan acting as the silent wrecking ball in the background. It's not just about dollars and cents. It's about the emotional toll of feeling stuck, of feeling like every decision revolves around debt. Children are not immune to this impact. They may not pay the bills, but they live inside the consequences. They notice when their parents argue, when opportunities are missed, when vacations never happen, when birthdays are celebrated on tighter budgets. They grow up with a distorted sense of money, often learning to either repeat the cycle, overspending for image, or live in fear of finances altogether. The weight of one car payment can silently shape the next generation's relationship with money without them even realizing it. And then comes the hardest domino of all, hope. Families caught in the cycle of crushing car debt start to lose hope that things will ever get better. The car in the driveway may look impressive, but it becomes a constant reminder of struggle. Every payment feels like a step backward, every due date like a ticking clock, every unexpected expense like another nail in the coffin of financial peace. Over time, that hopelessness seeps into every conversation, every decision, every dream deferred. 8. Families don't just lose money, they lose energy, they lose unity, they lose the belief that life can be different. 8. The truth about the car market is that it feeds on people's lack of discipline and awareness. The system is designed to look attractive, to feel easy, to convince you that signing your name on the dotted line is the same thing as gaining freedom. But freedom does not come from debt. Freedom comes from control. And control requires discipline. Without it, families walk into dealerships and walk out chained to loans that will haunt them for years. The trap doesn't work on everyone. It works on those who are unprepared, unaware, or unwilling to say no. That's why discipline and awareness aren't just suggestions anymore. their survival skills. Discipline begins with understanding the difference between wants and needs. Too many people tell themselves they need a certain type of car when what they really want is the image that car represents. 8. Awareness means recognizing that those commercials, those flashy advertisements, and those smiling sales pitches are crafted to make you believe your life is incomplete without something new and shiny. Discipline is standing firm enough to say, I don't need that right now, even when the temptation is strong. Without that self-control, the illusion wins and the debt begins. Awareness also means understanding the long-term consequences of small choices. A car payment might look manageable in the moment, but stretched over 7 or 8 years with interest, it can drain tens of thousands of dollars more than expected. That money could have been saved, invested, or used to build a foundation of security for the future. 8. Discipline is the power to look at the bigger picture instead of being blinded by the immediate feeling of driving something impressive. People who lack that long-term vision end up stuck in cycles that were entirely avoidable. There is also a cultural shift that needs to happen. Many people grow up believing that success is measured by what they drive. That status comes with a badge on the hood. Awareness means unlearning that toxic idea and realizing that true success has nothing to do with appearances. Discipline means being willing to drive something less glamorous but fully paid off, knowing that peace of mind is more valuable than outside validation. It takes courage to go against the grain, to resist the pressure of comparison. But without that courage, the market will keep winning and families will keep losing. Discipline shows up in practical steps too. It's in setting a budget before ever walking onto a dealership lot, in saying no to extended warranties, unnecessary add-ons, and financing schemes that stretch beyond reason. It's in saving money ahead of time, buying within your means. 8. And refusing to be manipulated by smooth-talking salespeople. Awareness is doing the research, knowing the real value of the car, understanding interest rates, and reading the fine print before committing. These aren't complicated strategies, but they require effort and self-control, qualities that many people are too distracted or too impatient to practice. The urgency comes from the reality that the market is only getting worse. Prices are climbing, loans are stretching longer, and lenders are becoming bolder in their tactics. Without discipline and awareness, people are walking straight into financial quicksand with no idea how deep it goes. The only defense is to be intentional, to be alert, and to be willing to sacrifice short-term satisfaction for long-term stability. It means breaking the cycle of living for appearances and starting the cycle of living for freedom. At the heart of it all, discipline and awareness are about respect for your money, respect for your future, and respect for the people who depend on you. A car should be a tool, not a trap. It should serve your life, not control it. And the only way to ensure that is to stay aware of the game being played and disciplined enough not to play by their rules. Those who learn that lesson break free. Those who ignore it will keep paying the price.